Good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to our Boss Ladies Summit for the beautiful month of April 2022. Can you please give the wonderful person next to you a round of applause? I just want to say a big welcome. So honored to have you here. We just had a big daylight saving change in Australia, so we've made the hours more reasonable. So it's us Sydney-siders holding up the rest of the world, and I just want to apologise on behalf of us for that. So we've got better hours. Great to have you with us, and we've got a fantastic topic today and tonight. We're talking legacy, and we're going to really unpack it with our amazing panelists, the top boss ladies. Now, firstly, it is being recorded, so please keep it all clean and positive. We've got the chat on the side, so please use the chat. Use the chat to network, say hello, as well as ask wonderful questions. Now, what I ask you to do as well, please, is if you can just keep, unless you're speaking as a panelist, if you can please keep your microphones on mute, that'll be fantastic. We're going to use the chat for the questions, but at the end, we can sort of hear from people to say hello. So if you just keep your microphones on mute and allow for the panelists. Now, we've got a few of our panelists here today. We've had a great one. First things first, can we all big wave to Loretta Remy? Loretta, we love you. Now, Loretta told me Loretta lives in Florida and there's some kind of huge storm coming away which could wipe out our power and internet. So we're going to get Loretta up shortly, just in case anything bad happens, we can at least grab Loretta. But we love Loretta, big wave. We got Dr. Liz. Dr. Liz is an amazing, legendary Queenslander. We caught up on Friday. We love you, Dr. Liz. We always say that doctor is in the house. That's Dr. Liz. And we've got the amazing quantum coach winner, Karen Clark. Big wave to Karen Clark. We love you, Karen Clark. And we also got the amazing Marianne Hines with us. We love Marianne Hines. Big wave to Marianne Hines. Quantum Leap Global, that is Marianne Hines. And as an honourable mention too, we have Marianne Hines' wonderful husband, who is the ultimate champion of women's empowerment, being a dude like myself. Could we wave to the legendary man, Michael DeHaan, which is incredible. So big wave to Michael DeHaan. We also got the amazing Eileen Avard. We love Eileen Avard. Big round of applause to Eileen Avard. She's a powerhouse lady. And I just noticed her amazing husband, Wayne's with us. We've got two men for women's empowerment. Big wave to Wayne. And I just want to acknowledge Wayne's a wonderful veteran as well. So we just want to say we thank you for your service, Wayne. You are a great man. So we got more men for women's empowerment. I'm all for that. There you go. And of course as well, Simone Louise has joined as a panelist. Can we give it up for Simone Louise? Simone Louise is a powerful lady. She would lose more fitness in a week than I've ever had in my entire life. She could. She's kind of like the Terminator, so she could punch through a brick wall. and you can't get away from her. So Simone Louise is basically, if Sarah Connor was a Terminator, you'd have Simone Louise. So there you go. She's an absolute machine. I just want to say a big thank you to all our panelists. And I want to say also as well, especially a big thank you to all the ladies around, and also all to the men as well. I think more men need to support women's empowerment. And of course, as well, a big thank you to wonderful Lassie. Lassie is actually the architect of this. She's busy running around looking after two children that are ripping up the house, and we absolutely love her. So without further ado, today's topic is legacy. And we're going to open up with amazing Loretta Remy, because we don't know what the Floridian storms are going to do to Loretta's home, internet, and power. So Loretta, so good having you with us. How are you today? Please say hello.
Hello, everybody, and it's great to be here. So hopefully it'll stay at bay. So we just have to be conscious that if I go black, you know why. So
exactly. So in light of that, I'm just going to get you up nice and early. I just want to ask you a few things to open things up. Firstly, sure. Loretta, the first question I want to ask you is, what does legacy mean to you?
So I was thinking about this, and I think it actually means, to me, it means leaving the story of the journey of my life onto someone else. So, you know, when I was thinking about legacy and some of the great, like, people in American history and everything, you know, the legacy that they left was the story of what made them create or develop or, go through to get where they became and everything. You know, you think about the Rockefellers and, you know, people like that and everything. And it was their journey about what they wanted, their goal, their end goal, but it was the journey on how they got there. And that's what they left to their families and such.
Wow. So in a way, it's a history in what we've created. That is a great opening, Loretta. Oh, beautiful. We love you, Loretta. Round of applause to you, Loretta. we're going to bounce over to our new panelist, Simone Louise, who's an amazing lady. And Simone, so good having you with us, and nice and sunny where you are by the look of things.
Good morning. Yes, I am actually hiding out on my back deck. We celebrated 2 of my son's birthdays yesterday. We had friends sleep over. I've got a house full of kids, and I'm like, no one's allowed outside while my mum's on the Zoom. No one come outside. So I'm like, oh, the lighting isn't very good, but I'm here. It's all good. The bacon and eggs is cooking in the kitchen. So happy days.
There you go. Oh, look, Simone, it was so good to have you with us. Before I ask you the questions, because you're new, please tell us a little bit about you and what you do, Simone.
Yeah, so my name is Simone Louise, and I'm based just south of Sydney. I'm a little bit regional into the Highlands area. So I am a lifestyle coach, and I help busy individuals establish some routine into their life, so for themselves and for their families. And I do that with a mixture of modalities of fitness, nutrition, and mindset as well. So just helping that person who is the cornerstone of their family, helping them establish a routine to just filter that out into their family and into their communities.
Fantastic. And Simone, big thank you for that. I'd love to ask you for the first question. What does legacy mean to you, Simone?
Yeah, I think for me, it's definitely about how you want to be remembered in the world. Like, what would you, if someone was reading your life story, that is the legacy for me. How you want to be portrayed, how you feel about yourself. And I actually went through a very powerful process of writing my own eulogy. And I did that as part of a mentoring session with one of my coaches. And that was a very powerful experience. I would highly recommend doing that if you haven't before. Yeah, really good.
So without reading it out, can you tell us a bit about what your eulogy would include?
Yeah, it was definitely all very heartfelt kind of stuff. How I want to just show people how to live a healthier lifestyle and how you can overcome any adversity in your life, and just having that positive mindset will lead you on a journey of feeling happier every step of the way into getting what you ultimately want in your life.
So in other words, so you're saying legacy is part also as well of how people are going to remember you, what you leave behind for the future generations.
Yeah, I believe so in my interpretation. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Simone, we love your work. Round of applause to Simone. And by the way, a few comments. We're going to bounce over to Eileen Nevada in a moment. I'll just go through the comments. Loretta Remy says, that was a homework assignment for me when I was in college. Wow. It's funny, actually. I once did my eulogy. I used to be a bit of a loser a long time ago. And I once did my eulogy. And my eulogy was basically someone defending the fact I wasn't a loser. And I thought, I better change my life. And here I am. And also Dr. Liz. Dr. Liz is, of course, from the beautiful Gold Coast. We'll get to Dr. Liz shortly. I was going to say, if you're one of our wonderful attendees too, please, if you've got any questions, put them in the chat. I'll be reacting to them. And make sure you connect with everyone on LinkedIn. And for those watching the recording, which you probably are, make sure you connect with everyone on LinkedIn and smash that like, share, and comment. We appreciate it. So I want to bounce over the amazing Eileen Avard. Eileen's an amazing lady. I get to catch up with her usually monthly in beautiful Melbourne when I head on down. And Eileen, so honoured to have you with us. How are you this morning?
Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you very much. I had the most amazing morning. We got to sleep in.
We did.
We got to sleep in, yes. And I even got the chance to invite my husband to the boss ladies. And she said, what's all this boss lady? And I said, come and find out. There's a few husbands around here. Come and support their wives. So here we are. Go you, my God.
I love it. And I'm all with you, Eileen. I think one of my biggest frustrations with women's empowerment is there's not enough men supporting it. So to the men that are here, Carsten, I see you too. To the men that are, can we give it up to the men that are here? I think more men that I think, who was it? What's the actress from, what's the actress from Harry Potter that she did the he for she movement? Help me out. What's it? Emma? No, my brain's not working. More men behind it.
Watson? Is it Emma Watson?
Thank you. Emma Watson, he for she. I think that's awesome. There you go. See, Marianne's totally tuned into it. I need to get more tuned into
it. I don't even watch that movie, but I know Emma Watson.
Oh, my God. We'll come to Marianne in a moment. Eileen, the floor is yours. Please tell us what legacy means to you.
Thank you very much, Ed. What legacy means to me is that how you want to pass down to your future generations. And for that, I will remember what the legacy that my parents, especially my mom, had passed down to me, coming from a family of 13 people. For her, being very, very poor, she had how to be very resourceful. So there's always going to find a way. And for her, her legacy was very much about kindness. It's about finding a way. It's being generous, and the other one is forgiveness. So when you have those qualities, you always see the goodness in other people. So for me, my legacy, what it means to me is knowing the roots I come from and what are the things that I would pass down, nurture these and pass down even more to my family. But my family is not just limited to my extended family and to the community. So my legacy is nurturing what has been passed down to me even more.
Wow.
So I don't get a chance to meet toxic people. I just meet people who needs kindness and compassion.
Now you said it, not me. You know I'm obsessed with defeating the heart of toxic people. I want to find the secret location in the world that manufactures toxic people and blow it up. So I was going to ask you, right? And while I've got you, what are your thoughts on toxic people who stand against women's empowerment, and how do we deal with them, Eileen?
Well, I think if we're clear on what we want to serve, and if we want to show peace and kindness, these are the people that's trying to find a way. They are trying to find, how could I like these nice people? How do I be like them without being jealous of them?
Ooh.
So we need to be more open and let go of the judgment. So it took me an extra hour this morning to bring husband along. So I have a lot of practice as well too.
We love your husband. I think Wayne's also doing a big wave to Wayne. We love Wayne. There you go. We love you, Wayne. He's a great guy. And he's a veteran too. So we love our veterans. So there you go. Love you, Wayne. Yeah, that's good. Eileen, round of applause to Eileen and, of course, wonderful Wayne. We're going to bounce over to wonderful Marianne Hines. Marianne from Quantum Leap Global. So honoured to have you with us. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Great to be here with you all too. And great topic, by the way. Thanks, Lassie.
Oh, Lassie's amazing. I was just going to say as well, as we've had a few people go, did you want to give a few reactions to what you've heard so far, as well as tell us what legacy means to you?
Yeah, so I agree with Loretta. It is a journey. So I look at it, it's about sharing your journey, but I look at it as a gift that you're leaving this world. So none of us are here by mistake. And I know, Ed, you referred to yourself as a previous loser. I think we can all, well, I can certainly say that I had elements of that in my life as well. But they're not really that they were loser components of our life. It's just that we came through some pretty tough times, and that's sort of made us who we are here today. So I feel like if we can all step into our full selves, and that means looking at the shadow side as well, and then from there, there's real gems in our lives, and it's those gems that are our gift. And if we start to share them in whatever way, whether it's large or small, it could just be to, your stepdaughter or to the lady across the road. It doesn't matter whether it's in a book or whether it's on the world stage. It's just about leaving a gift for someone else once you've gone. So, and I really do believe that we all have a unique gift, and it's our job is just to tap into what is that uniqueness and then share that. But I also like the, Simone, it was you that said about the eulogy. I've done that work as well. And it's, so I've got some guiding questions. If anyone wants to do that, I can stick them in the chat if you want to write your own eulogy. I highly recommend that you do it. Yeah, I will. I highly recommend that you do it, because it does actually, because legacy is about something that's deep and thoughtful, and you need to connect, and that comes from within you. You're not going to get it out in the world. You need to really connect in with yourself to figure out what that is for you.
Wow. Tell us a little bit about the eulogy. What did you uncover when you did it, Marianne?
So for me, it was really about I want to leave this world a better place. I want every human to know that they are special. It doesn't matter their backgrounds. It doesn't matter the mistakes that they've made, that everyone has a gift to share, and just to empower them to become their full best selves. So we all walk around with untapped potential. And if every human knows how valuable they are and that they mean something in the world, then and if I can help even just 10 people or 20 people, even just one, to know that, then I feel like my life has been worth living.
Well, you've already said that you've helped probably thousands, if not tens of thousands of people. So you've already blown that objective out of the water.
Yeah, thank you. But I was going to say, it doesn't matter how big the number, though. Even if one person is helping one more person, that's impactful. And then that person goes on and helps another person. So it has that butterfly effect.
Well said. Can we give it up for Marianne? Marianne, just absolutely amazing. Now, I want to bounce over to amazing Karen Clark. Then we're going to go to Dr. Liz. Karen Clark, what are your thoughts and reactions so far? And Karen Clark, so good to have you with us.
Thank you, Ed. It's wonderful to be here. Yeah, really great points that everyone is making. So, Loretta, leaving the story of your life on to the people who follow you, is I totally agree. And I think adding to that, it's sharing your life even more and sharing your gifts. So the story about why you did what you did is amazing. For me, your legacy is the difference that you make when you leave that legacy. And Simone, you know, how you want to be remembered in the world is amazing. And I totally agree, you know, that eulogy helps you to really hook into what would people say about me when I'm on my last, when I'm, you know, at my funeral. What do I want people to say about me? This is our eulogy about me and what a difference I made. So, yeah, Aileen, nurturing. I love that yours is nurturing, and how you want to magnify that's been passed on to you and pass it on to others. So I love that you said it took you an extra hour this morning to bring your husband along. And Marianne, you're always so amazing with how you speak. And it is about our gifts. It's about our gifts connecting with who we really are and understanding our gifts, that each of us is unique, and our purpose. Why are we here? What difference do we want to make? So, and we all, as humans, we're not going to be completely 100% fully living out our full potential. We all have untapped potential. That is being human. If you're breathing, you have untapped potential. So for legacy, for me, in the simplest terms, I guess, is making an impact that will last after you die. Could be building a financial legacy for your children or for some other beneficiaries. It could be something you create, or through the people, like you said, Marianne, the people you touch while you're alive, and then how that makes an impact to others when you're gone. So Bob Proctor, for example, died a month or so ago. Bob Proctor, very well known in the transformation industry and mindset industry. And, you know, he's left a legacy that will live on always, forever.
Wow. Brilliantly said, Karen. And Karen, I know Karen and I speak a lot off camera, and Karen, you're into the quantum realm quite a bit, which I think is very cool. How does the whole quantum realm and legacy cross over?
So that's a great question, Ed, because I was thinking about that this morning. And, you know, the quantum realm and crosses over with our mindset and how we function, the potential that we use or do not use, because it's all connected energetically. So when we decide and make a decision we want to do something, then it already exists in the quantum realm. And so when we understand how to take certain steps to bring that to fruition, then that's what causes our life, our results, and our legacy that we're going to leave. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's well said, Karen Clark.
Thank you, Ed.
Oh, beautiful. Round of applause to you, Karen. It's a pleasure. And we're going to hear from the doctor in the house at the moment, Dr. Liz. And before we do, I just want to go through a few amazing reactions. So feel free, of course, as well, share your LinkedIn links, connect with John Telson, Kemi Adekumbi. Karen also mentioned before as well, she's into writing down your legacy with my clients. It's very powerful. Very good point there, Karen. I like that one. And I was just going to say as well, feel free to keep the chat going. Got any questions or thoughts, put them in the chat, or you can use the chat to keep networking, whatever floats your boat. Now, it's time for the doctor in the house. Amazing Dr. Liz Issenring. I'm very honoured to have discovered such a high-powered boss lady like Dr. Liz. And Dr. Liz, how are you today? So great to have you with us.
Very well. Still recovering from our amazing Brisbane meetup with you and Karen, but it was, it was lovely, wasn't it? So very good.
Oh, it was. Now, please, Dr. Liz, tell us what you think. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so touching on from everyone's point, completely agree, but I'll probably expand it to, that ripple effect. So I think making the difference in the world that is important to you, and then just see how it ripples through and, the exponential power it has over time. And I've, I guess once you sort of start hitting your peak, some may call middle age, I think we tend to reflect on this a lot more. And I've realized some of the amazing mentors and leaders I've had in my life. And then you just look at, they've impacted a couple of people and then what those impact goes on for. And I guess for myself now, I reflect on, some of the students and sort of young dietitians and research superstars, and now look as they're building their careers, seeing their impact on the world. And it's actually pretty amazing when you can just see, starting off with one little thing and just literally the impact it has. So yeah, for me, I think it echoing what everyone else has said, but coming from within, focusing on your values. And if you can just touch one or two other people, that beautiful difference that floods throughout the world, it's very powerful.
And I love your, I think your backstory is amazing. I mean, you're a massive leader in, global academia and nutrition, and you've had a lot of men just hinder you and disrupt you and try and stop you on the way. And they failed very badly. Tell us a bit about that, how you overcame all that adversity.
I will, but I will say it's like any industry, obviously not just men. I think any competitive industry, it's like academia or corporate or whatever else, there is a reason why women leaders only make up, unfortunately, quite a small percentage. So in academia, when I became a professor, it was less than 20% were women, despite the entry level, more women actually starting at the entry level. So basically, as happens in a lot of other areas, the women don't get to progress much or drop out, and then, the men. And it's interesting, it's even in female-dominated professions, which is interesting, like dietetics or nursing. So we actually don't have that many men, but it's interesting that they often tend to go into the leadership position. So I think there's a few things. I think there's definitely, issues around either confidence or opportunities. But as I've said before, I think a lot of it is unconscious bias. I don't even know, like some of the greatest advocates and some of my best mentors are actually male and have been absolutely amazing. But I do think that there can be challenges and just not being aware. And I think I've mentioned it before, but even things like, having breakfast meetings or having discussions at the rugby or drinks, whatever, unless the women are invited to those settings, that's where often, some of the big discussions happen. So yeah, I think like many have had similar challenges, but I think, men can absolutely be our greatest supporters. And I think just the awareness is the first step.
I think it's absolutely amazing. I couldn't agree with you more. I think Emma Watson's he for she angle I thought was very brilliant. I couldn't agree with you more. I think the more men that get involved, the better. And I was also going to ask you as well, Dr. Liz, the other point I had as well is, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I used to, for a while there, I was actually a marketing director at one of the casinos in Australia. And what was interesting was that my team was almost all female, but I was a man. It was very interesting that in the marketing profession, which I worked in for a while, 95% female. The moment you get to directors, it's usually 70% male. So why does that, can you just want to touch on that a bit more? Can you explain that effect? Because you seem to understand it well.
I will do it. Obviously, I'm biased to the academic world, so people can chime into all the other worlds, but I think it's a combination of a few things. Obviously, taking time out to look after children can be a big factor, but what we saw clearly was just during the promotion process, women often would wait until they nailed every single criteria to the nth degree, whereas generalizing here, but, often the guys would be, about halfway there and go, yeah, I'll give it a go. And it was fascinating. And I've seen it many, many times on many different panels and whatever else, where, the very experienced woman was not actually putting herself up for stuff, but then there'd be some of these young, go-to guys, and you're just kind of looking, what is going on? But, so I think part of it is a little bit around that, the confidence and the opportunities. Like I say, I think a big part is also around taking time out to, look after the family. And for some of those very senior roles, it can be challenging. If you take time out for a couple of years or whatever, it can be very challenging to then be able to progress through. And I think one of the other things which we've mentioned before as well is to actually respect, the amazing attributes that women leaders can bring, and not necessarily expect that they're going to act exactly like the man. So I think in the past, when I look at previous mentors and whatever, some of them actually did have to take on very masculine traits to kind of make it to the top. Whereas I think in this, day and age, that it's, we can be ourselves and still be amazing leaders.
The world actually needs, I love all that you said, Dr. Liz, but the world actually needs feminine leadership. So it's out of balance with the masculine. So we don't need all feminine. We don't need all masculine. We need a balance. So I totally agree. It's about, and that's changing the paradigm of what is, what good looks like, and which is based on masculine. So yeah, this is a topic I'm also very passionate about, but I also think it's a lot of social conditioning as well. Like boys from a very young age are put into sport, like more so I'm talking about my generation, like the boys were in these hard competitive sports, whereas, I was doing ballet and stuff like that. Believe it or not, I was doing ballet. Not very well, I might add. But so we're boys are raised more competitive and thinking about how to move forward, whereas women are more about the collective and nurturing and things like that. So it's this social conditioning that has an impact on how you start to see the world. So I know in corporate settings, women, yes, they're not as great. So men will overestimate their skill set. Women will underestimate most times. So I think to get rid of that bias, you need leaders that have that understanding to really start to create the change.
Brilliant. Round of applause. Thank you, Marianne and Dr. Liz. And we're going to bounce over to Loretta Remy in a moment. And I'm just so glad that the Floridian storms haven't knocked out her power, internet, and destroyed her home, which is really good. So we're going to bounce over to Loretta in a moment. And Loretta, we're going to hear from you. I'm very nervous about poor Loretta because I know what Floridian weather's like, which is good. So glad we still got you. And we're going to go through a few of the comments. So please keep your comments coming. If you are watching the recording, connect with these wonderful winners on our LinkedIn. Make sure you smash that like, sharing, comment. Big shout to Lassie's Off the Concept. So Carsten Nielsen, love Carsten Nielsen. We've got him with us, and great comment from Carsten Nielsen. The lack of equity may be explained by the extent to which norms and culture are based on men premises and how unequal it is for women and feminine men. I couldn't agree with you more. It's I think it's very important. It's there are norms, and sometimes, the masculine is what's expected, which I don't think is awesome, which is not good at all. And Karen Clark's got a great reaction. And it's really good that, as what Dr. Liz was reflecting on, was the imbalance. And I think Dr. Liz, Marianne made a great point about the balance of feminine and masculine energies and conditioning from a young age. And it's an interesting one. I want to throw race into it as well. I come from an Arab background, right? And as an Arab man, we're very masculine, probably too masculine, and we're brought up to win-win-win. So when Dr. Liz, you were saying men would only be 50% there and ask for promotion, I'd be 5% there and go for it. So I'd be like, oh, well, I'd have no idea. It's like I'd be basically the crazy Arab saying, yeah, I want to build the tallest building in the world. So especially as an Arab man, we're taught to totally bash our chests and overestimate ourselves. That's why we buy such annoying cars and piss off everyone in our neighborhood, which I condemn on every level. So if you're a fellow Arab out there, stop the noisy cars. To my fellow Arabs, stop it. You know I'm talking to you. There you go. A great one from Marianne. I'll just touch on it, but Marianne made a great reference to her own eulogy. She left a good guide in the chat. Maybe reach out to Marianne directly if you're listening to the recording, but I'll just go through it quickly. Imagine you're at your own funeral with all your friends and colleagues. What would they say about you? And then just summarising, what would you want them to say? What would they say now, what they wanted to say, and what do you need to change? Which actually brings us to our next point, which is really good. And just the other reactions. And Kemi Adekumbi, our favourite health coach from London, who we love, low statistics of women being top leaders or CEO or boardroom roles. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's funny, I've seen it. I remember when I was at the casino, I was like the man with all women working for me. So even though at the bottom marketing's 95% women, director level, which I was playing at, no, it's all men. So there you go. There's something a little bit dark there that we need to explore and unpack and hear why we are. So, which is very good. Another reaction from Carsten. Most women restrain themselves since women use much of their energy on appearance to make sure they're seen for skills and attitudes and not the look. The acceptance of men behaviour. Interesting. I think Carsten's reaction is the difference in behaviour. And I like how Dr. Liz said it. I've seen it too. Women generalising will tend to line up all their ducks, where a man will just knock over the ducks and say, I don't care about the ducks. See the duck on the wall behind me, ironically? I just want to go for it. So, yeah, which is all very, very good. So what I want to do is I'm going to bounce over to wonderful Loretta. Loretta, I want to hear all your reactions and thoughts. Please, the floor is yours. Go for it, Loretta. We love you.
Well, thank you. And so I like that we took, you know, we all added our little piece to make it, you know, one big conglomerate, you know, legacy and everything. As far as the woman thing, I totally believe that women hold themselves back, thinking they're not ready yet, thinking they're not worthy yet. And like you said, either the man just goes for it, or people in that position to promote and everything just takes the man over it because they have more of the confidence.
Interesting. So tell us more about why. I think it's a good point. Why do men seemingly have more confidence, especially when we don't deserve to?
I think it is norms that have been around for many years, that, you know, stereotypical things that need to be changed, that you know, you still hear things like he's the breadwinner, so he should get it, or you know, he doesn't have kids to bother him, you know, or he's not the caretaker sort of thing and everything. So even today in this world, there's still that like stigmatism about women and everything, that if women don't stand up for themselves and say, hey, I'm here, I'm ready, I want to do it, then they could very well be overlooked.
Brilliant. Well said. Now, that brings to the next question, Loretta. And it's, yes, there are a lot of evil sexist men out there who need to stop it. But the key point is that, and this always frustrated me, because I always see brilliant women holding themselves back. Like I would actually, I probably shouldn't say this publicly, but when I used to manage a group of women, I would actually teach them how to ask me for a raise so I could take it to the general manager. So one of our staff members was underpaid. I took over a team, she was underpaid. And she goes, Ed, I want to ask for a raise. I don't know how to do it. So I spoke to her privately, took off my manager and had to say, this is how you ask me for a raise, and then I can take it to the GM for approval, which I did. So I was being a typical Arab. I was doing all smoke and mirrors stuff to help my wonderful leader. But what blew me away from it, and I'm just being honest here, and she knows who she is. I'm actually going to send her this recording. I can't say her name though, but her initials are KW. That's all I'll say. But she was actually a better marketer than me. This is a funny bit. I was a bigger loudmouth who was more aggressive, but she was actually a better marketer than I was. But she just wouldn't ask for it. And I actually found it quite frustrating and surprising. Can you expand on that, Loretta? You seem to have a good grasp on this element of why women do that.
Yeah, well, ironically, when I was working in the corporate world, I worked for a high-end resort here in South Florida, and had been there for years and years and years and everything. And I just kept expecting that because of my good work, because of my dedication and everything, that I would get promoted, but I wasn't asking to be promoted. And I remember I had this wonderful director above me, and we'd have some in-depth conversations about, life and, whatever. And he said, Loretta, the one thing you did wrong is that you didn't ask, and you didn't, I don't want to, he didn't say threaten, but I stayed in one place. If I had moved on with the skills that I had and everything, and went to other resorts, I could have been making, been way up on the ladder and making way more money and stuff. But I just thought that people would say, oh, look at Loretta. She's working so hard. She's doing all this stuff. She's learning, new skills. Let's promote her. And that's just not the way it was.
Wow. That's amazing, Loretta. And while I got you to being mindful of Floridian storms, going back to legacy for the moment, why should we create a great legacy? And what's your advice to everyone listening to create a better legacy?
I think we all should be the best versions of ourselves in life. And that's building the legacy that will carry on about you after life. So I think it's just all about being a good person now. And that's the importance of the legacy and everything. One of the ladies said, and I'm not sure which one it was, but it's, creating the impact of what we did now, that still resonates after we're gone and everything. And that was like powerful and stuff. And that's exactly why, I have no kids, so it's not like I'm leaving a legacy to any of the kids, but I'd like to leave a legacy that when I'm gone, my goodness now will still be going throughout.
Oh, and you are doing that, Loretta. Loretta, we love you. Round of applause to you, Loretta.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you. And we're going to bounce over to amazing Simone Louise in a moment. I'm just going to go through the reactions. Carsten gave another fantastic reaction. We love Carsten Nielsen. Basically talking about that, talking about behavior, appearance, and also, working hours and that type of thing as well, and social norms, because that's an interesting thing. This is one of the social norms. Like when you're in management or directorship, people expect you to do long hours, but if you've got to look after the kids and make dinner, that's going to be a little bit tricky. So it's funny how you got those norms in the system being a problem. And Michael Hahn's got a great reaction to wonderful Loretta. Loretta just shared her legacy using voice and visibility. That's why we love Loretta Remy. She's into it. I was going to say to our new attendees as well, who've come in, big welcome. Please ask any questions, keep up the comments and keep it moving. Now we're going to bounce over to amazing Simone Louise we love. Simone Louise, you are the best. I can tell, lucky the kids haven't broken into the backyard. They've left you alone, have they?
They have. They've come to the screen door. They're holding at the screen door and I'm like, on a meeting. No.
You're like, no, you get back inside. No.
Stay inside. I was actually thinking of flicking the switch a little bit on what people are talking about legacy. In a previous life, I was have an accounting background in the corporate world. So I thought no one's really touched on it today, but I'd be interested to hear what people think about legacy in terms of financially, how they feel about that. And I know for myself, I don't feel like I need to have a big financial legacy for my children. My biggest objective is just making sure that it is all easy when I go, that there isn't a big burden of complication in sorting out financial sort of stuff. So just keeping it nice and smooth and having that plan of knowing what is happening for that. So being direct in knowing where you want your financial wealth to go into that regard. But I feel like my parents and my in-laws and things like that, they feel like they need to leave a big bucket of money or houses and all that sort of stuff for us. But I actually don't feel that way for my own children. I don't feel like I need to give them a big nest of financial wealth. So I'd be interested to hear what everyone else feels about legacy in terms of finance.
Oh, that's a good one. So for those listening, put in the comments what you think of legacy from a financial point of view. Put that in the comments. Before you go, Simone Louise, I got something else for you. I want to also ask you another question, Simone Louise.
Sure.
And I know you're a very, very strong, tough-willed, powerful lady. What's your advice to other women to improve their resilience and their strength and become more tough-willed?
I think it's definitely just finding your inner power and believing in yourself. And I feel that gets quite challenged, especially when you go through having children. You find that it's really changing who you are, especially if you're someone who has had and enjoy their career as such and is really flourishing in that way. And then you have children and you're sort of thrown a little bit for six, because all of a sudden you're supposed to just move into a very nurturing, mothering type thing. And you can feel quite a sense and a loss of identity. So I'm interested to see how that plays off in especially climbing the ladders once you're returning into your career. You're sort of thrown a little bit. You're shaken with your confidence and things like that. So I think if you just really understand who you are as a person and know what you want to achieve, then that really helps with your resilience and confidence.
Really well said. We love you, Simone. Round of applause to you, Simone. Big thank you. We're going to bounce over to the amazingly dangerous Marianne Hines in a moment. And I was going to go through the reactions, so keep your comments coming. Carsten Nielsen says, we should say yes and make the same, at the same time make demands on, okay, so what Carsten's saying and paraphrasing is, do not make a career on men's terms, make it on women's terms. And I can add to that, actually. I'm talking Australian stats, which I know quite well. And same for America too, but I'll talk Australia. The majority of new businesses are started by women. And the majority of our clients are women. And if I ask any of those wonderful ladies, why are you in business for yourself? A lot of them say, yeah, I'm sick of the men's world. I'm creating my own world. And this is off topic, but we talk about parallel societies. You know, if there's a certain civilization that isn't working for you, go create your own subset in that civilization. That's what women are doing. And that's, to me, the argument is, if you don't like playing the men's game, then don't, you know. The Arab in me is more violent, will flip over the chessboard. Whereas as a woman, you go create your own civilization, which in effect is actually what we're doing on the Zoom, which is what I really like. So great reaction. Wonderful, Michael Duhana, we love. If you show up creating financial well-being for yourself, this will be the best learning for your children. They observe everything you do. That is so scary and so true, Michael Duhana. Michael, my heart runs amazing money expert. And Linda Joy Ben, big wave to Linda Joy Ben. We've been on the phone a lot lately. We love you, Linda. Linda made a great reaction to Simone. Love that, Simone. It's not about material stuff. It's about what they've learned from your journey and how you make them feel. And one thing, a big shout for Lassie too. What Lassie and I are very keen on in terms of our children with legacy is our networks and fame. You know, basically we want the Zia name to be super famous. So, you know, our kids are leveraging not just money, but they're leveraging off our networks. And I'm going to make another funny Arabic comment. What you do is, my kids are never, ever going to be working in a supermarket. I'm going to give them jobs in the business. So they're going to be learning so as a 12-year-old, I want my kids knowing about accounting and how to run a business. You know, they're not working in supermarkets, they're working in the business, or I'll stick them in a friend's business. So there you go. It's funny. The older I get is the more of an Arab I sort of become. So it's just funny how heritage sneaks up when you're later in life. And Faisy, hey, big wave to Faisy Grease. We love you, Faisy. Good seeing you. Yes, Michael, children learn fast from many areas. So I want to bounce over to Marianne Dehan. We love Marianne. She's an amazing thing. Marianne, please tell us what you think. Love hearing your thoughts.
I'm actually Marianne Hines.
Oh, I made a Freudian slip there. My apologies.
But you know why? Because on my Facebook, it's Dehan. That's why. So you're forgiven.
Okay, so I don't get pinned on that one because you've given me something.
I'll take that back. I'll take that away from you, that one. I love that question, Simone, because it's something that I'm really passionate about. I'm not a big believer in inheritance either. I actually think our role as parents, as step-parents, as aunties, nieces, wherever you have younger people, is actually empowering them to become self-sufficient, to become adults that are contributing to the world and adults that actually know how to create for themselves. So I think inheritance can be a nice little surprise price. But if you've got children that are going, well, I've got this trust fund and I've got this coming up, and they're just sort of relying on that and not actually building the skills themselves, and that can run into some challenge. I know my grandmother, 96, bless her, lived on her own. She only just end of last year went into a nursing home, but she's sitting on this massive nest egg. I'm like, Grandma, just enjoy your life. Like, go out, you worked hard. And my grandma worked hard, but no, she's like, no, I'm leaving it for my daughters. So whereas I was saying to my mum, I was like, please enjoy it. Like, we're not expecting your money. Like, just go out and live whatever time you have left to the best. Like, so absolutely agree with you. And I think it was a really important point to raise. Now, did I miss the question? I went straight down that path.
No, I'd love to hear reactions, but just adding to that, and this is perhaps a different question that feeds into it. Why should we leave a legacy? What's the whole point of all this? Why not just be completely selfish and do our own things? Obvious, silly question, but I want to hear your thoughts on that one.
I feel like, well, what I know within my soul is that we're all here for a reason, and I absolutely know that none of us are mistakes, and we all have this gift to share, and I think it's our role to figure out what that gift is, and then share it, no matter how large or small, as I mentioned earlier. But I do have a couple of questions that I could share if you do want to think about your legacy.
Please.
Okay, all right. So if you close your eyes for a moment, you can do this now if you feel comfortable, and imagine that you're at your 100th birthday party. Okay, so your family and friends are throwing you a party, and a newspaper reporter comes along to interview you. So here are your questions, and I will put these in the chat too. So what do you want to tell the reporter about your life? Your accomplishments, your regrets, your leadership, and that could be in the home, by the way, it doesn't have to be in business, the difference that you've made. And then if you think about that, and then write some notes and like just write it all out and let it flow, and then go, okay, what am I not doing right now? And then start today on that.
Wow.
So I'll put those in the chat as well if people want to do that little exercise.
Amazing. Brilliant. Round of applause to you, Marianne. Absolutely fantastic. We're going to bounce over to the amazing Eileen Avard and then Karen Clark. Eileen, so honoured having you with us. Please give us your thoughts and reactions and tell us why legacy.
Why legacy? I loved what Marianne was saying about what we all come with a gift, and really for some of us, we're still figuring out what that gift is. But we all have the deep potential to make a difference, and really it's about figuring out that gift. And we also have conversation that why women are holding themselves back, and some of that is the confidence. And the confidence matters. Sometimes it could resonate from a place of who is the breadwinner. I think on our chat they say, who is the breadwinner? So for a lot of people, women are held back because they lack the money. They lack the money, so they do not step out. They could be held back because of lack of money, but not so much in this country because we have social welfare. But from where I came from, there's no social welfare. You really have to fend for yourself. So you have to become more resourceful. So for me, the legacy that I want to leave for the people is really about educating people on money matter. Like I want to teach my kids to understand money matters so that they have an education. Money is about how you grow from what you're given is how you can grow it, not to spend it. You grow it, then you can make a difference to other people. Then you become self-sufficient, then you have the confidence to step up, because knowing that you have the resources, that you've been given a seed, that how you're going to plant that seed to make a difference to other people. So for me, legacy is really teaching people that here is a seed, plant it in 10, 20, 30, 50 years. And as you look back in 50 years' time, If you have never planned anything now, 50 years, you look back, you say you still have a barren ground. But if you start sowing some of these seeds for them, why legacy? For not many people sometimes think about the goal. They never even think about a goal. But if you talk about legacy, you say, why should I? But if you like all these things, you look back about in 50 years time. But if you talk to even school kids, you starting to help them to plant the seed 50 years, and you might actually see an oak tree, because deep inside you, there's the gift that will now and then remind you, hey, didn't you say you want to do this 10 years ago? Didn't you say you want to do this 20 years ago? You still haven't done it. There will be a part that will always remind you, because there is the potential in it. So for me, legacy is about helping women or helping people to build the confidence. And one of the confidence methods is really understand the educations. And that's why I love what I'm doing, this transition, because a lot of people at this point, they still haven't have a legacy. They just work all their life. They work all their life, and they come to this place and they look back. My field in front of me is barren. They do not know legacy is about the fulfillment, nurturing the inner soul so that you can hand it down. It's not just work. So that's legacy to me. And so I really love what Marian was saying about the gift. Determine what's the gift to find out. And I love all the other women share it. And I love this topic. So thank you so much, Ed. I don't know whether I'll go off the tangent, but I just speak my heart. So thanks, Ed.
Oh, brilliant, Eileen. Absolute round of applause. I got to say, I love where you go and I love the thinking. And just out of interest, what country are you from originally?
I'm from Singapore.
Singapore.
So it's about always finding the next progress, but also taking care of the people and helping each and everyone to be self-sufficient. Who was that? They say, we need to be self-sufficient. Again, sorry, Marian, is self-sufficient, self-contributing. And I think that is so important.
Oh, wow. Eileen, absolutely appreciate you. Round of applause, Eileen. Brilliant. And we're going to bounce over to the amazing Karen Clark. Karen Clark, you've been absolutely amazing. Love to hear your wonderful thoughts and reactions.
Thank you, Ed. Wow, so many pearls of wisdom and gold nuggets here. Where do I start? I think Dr. Liz talked about awareness, and I hooked into that because awareness is important with everything, your level of awareness about how it works, how everything works. And so to go back to, yes, it's conditioning from a very young age with regard to women holding themselves back. It's social patterning. So I'm just going back to that for a little while. And then I want to talk about how actually a long time ago, probably, when my parents were looking at their legacy, it was more around the male understanding of what a legacy is, which is financial. So the trust fund and the financial assets and things like that, I think it was that. However, I believe that people are now understanding that there's more to life than financial, and there's more to what we really understand as being fulfilling and creating that. In fact, Ellie referred to it in your Thursday night talk that she talked about, where health is also about believing in something spiritual, some spiritual belief and some difference that we want to make, some reason that we're here, which helps us to have longevity. And so I think that legacy is way more important, like a lot of you have alluded to, than the financial legacy. So learning, teaching our children and the people who are after those and other people who we touch and reach with what we do to understand what is life all about? Why are we here? How can we reach our full potential and make that difference that we want to make? So Simone, you referred as a previous life being an accountant, that they look at the financial legacy. And I think there's that different way of thinking. And, I loved what you said, Ed, about kids and how they're not going to work at Woolworths. Well, my children didn't either. They worked in my business at the time, and my family business with my husband from a very young age. And, I took them to work and I taught them to serve the customers, to how to speak to them, how to do spreadsheets, how to count up the money and do the banking, slips and things for taking to the bank, going to the bank, all of these things. And, they all went to university, and yet they were miles ahead of other kids post-degree because they'd learned basic life skills, basic communication skills, and business skills. So it's a great idea of yours. Totally agree with you on that.
Wow. And it's funny you say that. One of my observations that I see all the time, Karen, is that, talking more women here, of course, is that if I think of most savviest, successful women I know, about half of them at least have worked in their family's businesses. And a lot of them actually say, I work in my family's business. And I notice especially, I got a lot of Italian friends, and a lot of Italian women say that. A lot of Italian women, I think, Loretta, you're Italian, aren't you, Loretta? Right? A lot of Italian women will say that, I worked in the family business. That's why I'm so savvy, and hence I'm so successful today. I think it's a really good thing, Karen Clark.
Yeah, and I worked in my family business, my dad's family business. And in fact, it wasn't only that learning the stuff, he taught me all of that, how to serve, how to be of service, how important your customers are. But he also gave me something else, which was the most amazing gift. And that was because I was there with my dad. I can always remember one day because he had a gas station, a petrol station. That was my training. And the director of Caltex came to visit him one day. And I was with him, a little girl, and he turned to me and he said to this man, "Oh, this is my daughter, Karen." And do you know that gave me, and Karen, this is Mr. Blah, blah. And the gift that gave me, where I felt important enough for my dad to introduce me to this big company director, was absolutely priceless, because from then on, I believed that I was equal to any male or female in any position with any level of, corporate position or education. And of course, we are all equal, right? However, the gift was just absolutely incredible.
Wow. We love you, Karen. Round of applause to you, Karen. Amazing. And I'm just going to quickly go through the reactions, and we're going to bounce to Dr. Liz. So Carsten Nielsen made a few great points here. Gender equality is about reducing poverty and improving sustainability. Exactly. I think, the more we help women is the more we help human civilization. Wayne makes a good point. Social norms appear to be more how we're meant to think and not exactly how we think. And love where you're going there, Wayne. I think it's a really, really good unpack. And I think it's very important. I like where you're going, Wayne. I think it's very important that we set norms in the right direction. Marianne left great thoughts on legacy, which is amazing. Carsten asked some amazing questions. And also, too, we've got heaps of wonderful comments in there. So make sure you check it out and keep the chat going. Now let's bounce over. We're going to finish up. So let's bounce over to Dr. Liz. Dr. Liz, please, love to hear your thoughts and reactions, and thank you.
Oh, well, just to pull it all together, I mean, it's fantastic that thinking traditionally, we think of terms in terms of, financial legacy for the upcoming generations. But I think, from all the discussion here, it's really been highlighted that at the end of the day, that's actually not really the most important thing. It's about being that role model. It's about touching those hearts, and it's about having that ripple effect throughout the world. And I'm constant. I've mentioned it before, but that ripple effect that exponential growth is phenomenal. How much power, we all can have. And I guess touching on Marianne's point, the number, but even if just one person, but having, a really powerful difference in someone's life, I think is fantastic. So, for me, it's been done in various ways, but at the moment, very much helping to empower people to improve their nutrition and well-being. And doing that personally and doing that, through students and colleagues is amazing, because to see how much more value and pleasure people get out of life by not having to worry about all the aches and pains and, chronic diseases and whatever, but actually really feeling energetic and genuinely embracing life, I think is very powerful. So that's absolutely one of my big motivators at the moment, for sure.
Wow. Well, and Dr. Liz, again, you've done amazingly well in your career and business. What would you say to a lot of women, especially listening, women that are afraid to use their voice and speak up? What would you say to them, Dr. Liz?
Oh, I think it's just having a seat at the table and not just basically just doing it. I think don't overthink it. Just do it. We might have mentioned that before with the 5 seconds, just count down and just do it. I also wanted to touch on that bit about a little bit more balance and what's important to you. I had the role models that the female professors were the ones that, work crazy hours and whatever else. And I know many successful people do perhaps are a little bit blindsided and perhaps, focus on one thing. Whereas I'd like to encourage that it's actually really important to have some balance and, look after your health and do all those other things, because that's what's going to keep you going. That's what's going to keep the sustainability and the longevity, rather than just ticking all the boxes that you need to the next promotion. So I think a bit more of a holistic view is incredibly important. And I think that's what I share with my kids. That's actually what I share with my students and everyone else now, because they're often so worried about just ticking the boxes. That will come. Find time to actually find out what's important to you and genuinely care about making a difference and helping people.
Brilliant. Dr. Liz, round of applause. I just want to say a massive thank you. Now, we're going to wrap things up and we're going to open up to the audience shortly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through our panelists really quickly, just for a quick closing thought. So I'd love to get a quick closing thought from our panelists. Then we're going to open up to the audience. And I've got to say I love you, winners. Give me a big wave for Sandy Diaz as well. Sandy, good seeing you there. We love you, Sandy. You are amazing. So let's bounce over. Let's go quickly closing thoughts. Let's go through an order. Loretta, Remy, what is your closing thought for us?
So I think my closing thought is I want to do Marianne's exercise in writing a eulogy and seeing where I'm at, where I want to be, and making the changes to do it the way I want to have the outcome that I want when I leave.
Oh, well said, Loretta. We love you. Simone Louise, what's your closing thought, Simone Louise?
I've just enjoyed what everyone has said today. It's been really nice to hear everyone's different perspective and just to be in this community with so many heartfelt people that their legacy really is the ripple effect, which is just amazing, because that's how we create real change. That's how we really do change the world.
Beautiful, wonderful. Arlene Avard, what is your closing thought, my friend?
How could we be more so, how to be more so contributing and self-sufficient in the legacy that you once, how the role model that you can leave behind and where it originated from. Know the roots and what's the seeds that you want to pass on.
Arlene,
Be the role model.
Love you, Arlene. Marianne. Hi.
I've also really, thank you, also really enjoyed listening to everyone's thoughts and wisdoms. I think it's very powerful when people get together, particularly women, and share their learnings and their wisdom. So my closing thoughts would be, well, I'll repeat it. Your life is not a mistake, even if you've made mistakes in your life. Today is a new day. We all have the opportunity to create a life that we absolutely love and that fulfills us. And, you know, when we can sort of break away from the social norms of what life is supposed to look like and those conditionings, we're in for a really powerful ride. So, yeah, take the step, get uncomfortable. And, you know, if you don't already have a legacy in mind, today's the day to start thinking about it and creating it.
Marianne, beautiful. Thank you. Karen?
Yeah, thank you. Beautiful day. Way to start the day. I totally agree with everyone. The comments and the interactions have been amazing. So as to lead on to what you said, Marianne, your life is in your hands. So our choice about what we want to do with regard to our legacy and how and who we leave it to, everything we do that touches another person is our legacy. So just be more aware of it and then start to fabricate what you want by the way that you think. That would be my leaving. My leaving thought would be plan it, decide it, understand that your life is in your hands and your legacy is in your hands.
Beautiful, Karen. Amazing. And Dr. Liz, what are your closing thoughts?
Agree. To live your legacy, and that really it's about what you do, not what you say. So I agree. Take those first steps and think about how you can continue to take those first steps today.
Yeah, beautiful.
Wonderful. Round of applause. And just before we go, I just want to open up to a wonderful audience who are just incredible. If you want to offer a quick thought or ask a quick question, now is your chance, or even say a quick hello. If you'd love to say a quick hello from our audience, just hit the hands up key in Zoom and that should rank it in order. So if you want to say a quick hello or anything, or share a thought or ask a question, now's your chance. Hit that hands up key. We'd absolutely love to hear from you. And I just want to say a big thank you. And Cami, what's your thought or question?
I'd just like to say thanks for this webinar. Well, what can I call it? Session. It was nice. It's nice having different people's perspectives about legacy and stuff like that. Yeah. So I just want to what do I want to say? I don't know. I'm just gobsmacked. It was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, we love you, Cami. Round of applause to you, Cami. Amazing. Faisy, please, floor's yours.
Good morning, everyone. This is my first Boss Lady meeting, and I've really enjoyed it because it resonates with what I work as well. Yes, the legacy starts within us, and it's how we live our lives. And it's not necessarily the finances we leave behind us, but it's us. It's really understanding who we are. What I find, I do work with a lot of women in my work as a life coach. I find a lot of women have actually forgotten or have lost their self-identity. And because we are mothers, we are wives, we are sisters, we're partners, we're friends, we forget who we are. And once we realize who we are and we start living our life to our best, because we are such talented humans and we carry so much within ourselves that we don't know how powerful we are until we discover that. And it all comes from our parental programming when we are born. You know, I was born that I was a girl from a Lebanese background. And women are not to be, they're just to be seen and not heard like children. So that was really quite challenging to get over that. But now I'm well and truly heard. So thank you for letting me come into this group, and I look forward to the next one as well. So thanks, Eddie, and everyone else. Lovely to meet you all.
You too, Faze. A round of applause. If you'd love to say a quick hello or ask a question, just put up your hand and go for it. No, just let you know what happened as well. Apologies as well. A few people had trouble logging in. There was a bug in Zoom. The waiting room wasn't showing up correctly on my end. So if you had a delay entry, my apologies, Zoom was playing up. So something, the waiting room wasn't showing correctly. So there you go. So if you did miss it, my apologies. I'll be uninstalling Zoom and reinstalling it and speaking to them to sort it out. But I just want to say a big apology. So if you have come in It's just a tech bug I was dealing with. So my apologies there. But Faisy, we absolutely love you. Would anyone else like to say a quick hello or ask a question or make a thought? Just hit the hands up key. Big wave to you, Camilla and Sandy. Good seeing you, ladies. If you want to say a quick hello, now's your chance. Camilla, please say hello.
Sorry, I'm on my phone. It took me a moment to get to the unmute button. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing great. I actually showed up early today, so I got a bit confused by the time difference or the time change that happened overnight. But I'm really happy to be here. I'm really excited to have this conversation because something that I am really passionate about is being really clear on what it is that we want to achieve in our lifetime and leaving a legacy behind and having a purpose and being really clear on what that is, because that drives our actions, it drives our goals. And I'm just really excited to hear what everyone has to say and participate in the conversation.
No, actually, Camilla, you're on the right. You actually turned up on time. There was a Zoom bug affecting the waiting room. So I couldn't, it wasn't behaving as normally. So we're actually at the end of it. So you're actually correct in showing up. It's a Zoom bug that affected the waiting room.
I missed it.
You missed it, but I'm glad we got you in for at least a quick hello, and I'll get out the recording.
Well, I'll be watching the recording. Thank you.
Yeah, but at least we got a quick hello from Camilla. But yeah, apologies for that Zoom bug. I'll be playing with the app later on. And a big thank you, Camilla. And also, Michael DeHaan put up his hand manually. He did it for reals. Michael, please.
I couldn't find the hand button on the Zoom, but I just wanted to put out there that when we're talking about legacy, just to dream big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everyone's got that power within them, dream big. So to create that sort of change, really think about a big legacy. So we always play sort of at this level, and to dream big, act big, that's when we create the amazing legacy that we've all got within us.
Amazing, Michael. Absolutely love you, my friend. And I know my friend Sandy Diaz didn't put up her hand, but I want to put up the hand for her. Sandy Diaz, an amazing lady. Sandy, I'm just going to dob you in. Please say hello, Sandy. We absolutely love you. And sorry about the delayed start with the Zoom bug.
That's okay. That's okay. I kind of felt like you kept asking anyone else, and I'm like, I think he wants me to say something.
He does.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that replay because, this is a really great topic. And I'm sorry that I missed half of it. And I was the one that was in the waiting room for a little while. But I'm glad I made some of it. And thank you so much for sharing all your thoughts. I do believe that. We do leave a legacy, but I think legacy starts now. It's what you do now, because if you can foster in your children and the people around you, growth mindset and positive ways to live now, I think that's also very important. So, not so much about what you leave behind, it's what can you do every day to make an impact for someone else? Enter a room and light up the room, or go to a cafe and, smile at someone and, just change, make that positive impact for someone. I think that's very important. Yeah.
We love you, Sandy. Round of applause to Sandy. Just before we finish up, would anyone like to say anything? Any closing thoughts or remarks before we finish up? And also to make sure you connect with Lassie as well. Make sure you follow her. She's absolutely amazing. But any final thoughts from anyone? Well, without further ado, I want to say a big thank you for Boss Lady Summit. Again, apologies for the Zoom bug. I'll be checking into it. See you all next time. Make sure you smash that like, share, and comment, and connect on LinkedIn, everyone. Bye all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, our panelists. Appreciate you all. Bye, everyone.